All right, friends, it's Team Man. We're back with another Renaissance periodization Mike Israel video. We're going to react to the gym lifting, recruiting, fitness, gear slaves video. In this video, Mike Israel says, modern men's low testosterone crisis. What's going on? I don't know what's going on.
We hear that male testosterone levels have dropped on average since like the 70s or something like that.
That's absolutely not true. What happened was, it hasn't dropped since the 70s. Since the 70s, people started eating more of a slave food diet and imports. They started getting more imports. They started eating more fruits and vegetables. And the slave food diet and the fruits and vegetables, the imports, they're eating them all year round. These anti-nutrients. That's right.
First of all, is that true?
Yeah, so there is some truth to that. And the reason is because we know that as people get more unhealthy, they get more comorbid conditions, more
Listen to what she says. As people get more unhealthy. Yeah. As you eat more unhealthy foods called fruits and vegetables, and these, the fake foods too as well, and the seed oils and everything else, and you're eating them all year round, what did you expect, right?
diabetes, more high blood pressure, more, high cholesterol. All of these things are basically going up, and testosterone subsequently is going down.
Exactly. She just told you what's going on, why you have low testosterone. It's because you're eating unhealthy. You stopped eating healthy. What's healthy? Animal products, raw animal products. People slowly stopped eating more raw animal products. They started cooking more of their animal products. They started processing eating more processed animal products, which is cooking, and they're even eating less of it, and they're eating more of these imports and more fruits and vegetables and seed oils and these fake foods, man. Get it? Yeah. That's what they're doing. And these artificial man-made foods.
So the more you acquire these things, the more obesity, the more metabolic syndrome, the more we're seeing testosterone go down, and even in younger people.
That's right.
Because they're also unhealthy.
Legendary.
That's right. When you go to this so-called carnivore community, whatever you want to call it, I don't know why they call it that, but whatever. When you go to eat your natural diet, animal products, and you're in a positive nitrogen balance, well, guess what? Testosterone is through the roof. Yeah, you have high testosterone. A bunch of stuff happens. Miracles start happening that you've never had. That's never happened to you before. Now, when you start eating these foods, it's associated with low hormonal responses. Yeah, that's what happens. The anti-nutrient. They're unhealthy foods for you. They're unhealthy. Anything that would lower your testosterone is considered unhealthy. Now, if meat increases your testosterone, right? Animal products increase testosterone. Are you unhealthy? She said, testosterone, low testosterone, unhealthy foods. What's causing them? The unhealthy foods. Now, what causes testosterone to go up? Healthy foods. What's healthy? Animal products. There you go. See? It's not hard to figure it out. It's not hard to understand what's healthy, what's unhealthy for you.
Really so.
Right. And so that's the number one reason. There's also a whole host.
Yeah, and you're in negative nitrogen balance. The more unhealthy you eat, these so-called unhealthy foods like fruits and vegetables, the more you're in negative nitrogen balance, the more you're going to have low testosterone. You're anabolic.
Of other things that contribute.
You can't build muscle. That's why you're complaining about newbie gain limit, hard gainer, genetic limit, and hard gainer, whatever. Yeah.
Having more exposures to endocrine disrupting chemicals in the environment, and some of which we do have legislation to control.
Okay, so why are you being exposed to more of these chemicals? Because you're eating these chemical-filled fruits and vegetables all year round. These unhealthy fruits and vegetables, get it? They're massively sprayed with chemicals, and you're eating them now all year round. Yeah.
Microbeads and microbead sort of products anymore that are available in the United States. BPA free is a very common thing. So there are things in place to try to limit exposures, but we're eating a credit card of plastic every year or something.
I make sure to eat a real credit card every year just not to miss out.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I think there are exposures that we can sort of limit, but to some degree, we're all exposed. Yeah. And the good news is that we can get rid of a lot of it, but at some point it does accumulate, right? Sure. And so that's causing issues. All those things together. And then,
small daily choice.
When you're thinking about things that boost testosterone, it's like movement, right? It's moving your body, lifting weights, doing, high intensity interval training. And like, we are more and more sedentary, right? We're doing Zoom meetings at home. Like, we're sitting on our couches and like since COVID. And so I think that's playing a big role in it.
Yeah.
And we're more stressed out than ever, right? People are just so stressed with chronic levels of stress. And if you have chronically elevated cortisol, it's going to affect your testosterone.
Well, the food causes you to be stressed.
That's a big deal. That also ends up affecting sexual behavior tremendously because I think stress is like the great killer of sex life, pretty much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get turned on when you're like stressed.
Yeah, it's like just now's not the time.
No, yeah, exactly.
Just imagine like you've got like a machine gun up and there's zombies downrange and the girl next to you is like, let's get it on. You're like, are you crazy?
Right.
There's a time and place for this, young lady.
Yes.
Yeah, and so if you low key always have stress, you low key will have lower testosterone probably, and probably like less fruitful and regenerative sexual interactions that are just healthy for humans to have.
Right. And it's sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, your testosterone goes up when you have anticipation for sex.
Yes.
And so if you don't have anticipation for sex because you're stressed all the time, that also plays a role.
Yep.
Right. And then, I think the other big one is sleep. So we don't sleep. We are scrolling our phones until whatever hour of night, or we're purposely staying up late because life is so stressful and we want this downtime.
Sure.
But then we're hurting ourselves.
That's a big one. People will have these really ambitious, to make this not so negative and like balanced, humans are accomplishing more than ever.
Absolutely.
Our incomes are staggering relative to our ability to buy things. Absolutely staggering. So we're just hyper successful, but we're so successful that we end up working so much and getting so stressed. And we end up having like a half an hour at the end of every day to be like, well, just you time now.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't need half an hour. I need 3 hours. And then you're missing sleep.
Yeah.
And that whole thing of stress is going on. And you don't have time to connect with your partner because everyone's working like a dog. Look, we wanted this. One thing I like to tell people is like economically, almost every American, not every, but almost every, can afford to work like half as much and still have a great standard of living. But when you're like, hey, do you want to work half as much and have half less money? You're like, most people are just like, I want money. I'm good.
Well,
And it comes at a price.
consumerism is like a real thing, right? So you got to keep up with the Joneses in order to keep your lifestyle. You got to keep working, and I think that's a real problem, right? Because we also have now, because of modern technology, the ability to work like from our phones, from
24/7.
anywhere. Like, you can literally be constantly working if you so choose to.
Every time I'm on a flight to go somewhere, usually for work, I end up looking at my phone and I'm like, was here for 3 hours. Might as well get to work, and I just end up working. I think a lot of people end up doing that.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. I'm kidding. I don't know. That was a shit analogy. That's funnier when I say it. People have lower sperm counts as well. Males have lower sperm counts.
Correct.
Again, that's the reason why these so-called unhealthy foods that their people are eating. That's why they have low sperm counts.
There have been many hypotheses as to why that is. Part of it's testosterone mediated. Part of it is no doubt endocrine disrupting chemical to some limited or moderate extent, but it's not the whole picture. We know that.
Yeah.
But what about ejaculation frequency mediated by pornography? Because this is a story I've heard. Folks are jerking it a lot. And what that does is it lowers the accumulation of higher testosterone through the week, for example, because it's kind of an off valve. And also it reduces sperm count and keeps your sperm count lower. And maybe it also, and this is speculative, I'd love for you to touch on this, somehow kind of deflates your deep drive and motivation for success or something like that. People are kind of fuzzy about that. It might reduce athletic performance. It just kind of takes the oomph out of your sales. How much of that is true? Is it true only at the extremes? Does it affect everyone? What is your take on that?
Well, let's talk about the stuff that we absolutely know. So what we absolutely know is that when you are ejaculating frequently, your sperm concentration and count is going to be lower, right? And so they've actually done multiple studies to figure out like how often should you ejaculate if you want to get pregnant, right? So that's that. There's an abundance of data on that, and they've had people abstain for days and days and days versus 24 hours, and they found that really, yes, your sperm count goes up over days, but at about 5 days, the sperm actually has more DNA fragmentation and becomes genetically less favorable, and so you want
sperm.
Yes, so you don't really want that kind of sperm when you're trying to have a baby. So what we tell people, at least in terms of like keeping healthy sperm is 24 to 48 hours. So you should have sex maybe every other day or every day during your fertile window. But that's sufficient. You don't need to do more than that. And you don't need to do, you don't need to go wait 5 days, right? Because you want to essentially have the best chance for sex, to have a conception. So that's one. So two, then talking about like, how does it affect testosterone? Well, there's actually no data. There's only like one study that looked at guys who abstained, and it was like 10 guys, and they abstained for 21 days. And so they looked at testosterone levels.
They were all lying.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever. Who knows? But by the 21st day, they checked their testosterone again, and it was higher by about 50 nanograms per deciliter. Now,
Oh, that's nothing.
it's nothing, right? That could be like a regular day.
That's within the margin of error.
With PC Financial, you earn more PC
And then also you could say like there's the anticipatory cue. Like if you really abstained for 21 days, like you're really excited. So that's going to play a role as well. So really it was 10 healthy guys with no real medical problems who did this. And like it's not enough to make any sort of finding with that. There was one other study with like 30 patients, and that was actually debunked and like pulled from the literature. So like still people are like looking at that study.
Oh,
It's
no.
like there was actually a retraction of that study. So ultimately there's really no evidence that ejaculating more frequently or abstaining for like No Nut November, for example, or whatever, semen
took
retention.
my next talking point
I know,
right out of my notes.
It's really going to make a difference in terms of like you getting your testosterone higher. Now, so that's one thing. Now, in terms of like you said, like your mood or you're feeling a little less desire or urge for sex. Now, I think that's a whole host of different things. So why are you masturbating so frequently and using whatever means to do that, whether there's pornography or whatever? Why do you feel
Rewired toaster.
really?
Think about
Why?
that.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't
So-
you kink shame me.
You're right. You're right. If that's what you're into, just don't put your appendage in there. Okay.
Well, that's exactly what it's for. It's safe, I think. I used to be an electrician. Anyway, please answer the question.
Anyway, so the question is then why are you doing that? Usually what happens in people who are masturbating quite frequently.
What is quite frequently? Can you
Well,
tell us?
I guess it's really quite frequently to the point where it's detracting from their life, right? For some people,
Well, this is getting boring at this point. They're not getting to what is this? No Nut November? Okay.
Okay, interesting. So if I say I want to do No Nut November, and for me, that's just like a fun way to challenge.
The funny thing is they never mention what would cause testosterone to go up. They just keep telling you what is lowering testosterone. Well, here's the thing. Now that you know what lowers testosterone, what she said, then just do the opposite and your testosterone should go up. See what I mean? You see how simple this is? I don't want to stay really forever on this video. The topic is just ridiculous. Just do the opposite of what's causing your testosterone to go down. That's all. It's really simple. Yeah. I don't know what else to say there, man. I'll see you in the next video, friends. So much to think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. Ciao, man.